Good morning, everyone. I am in what is probably Colorado's least known national park. At least it's pretty close to the bottom there if it's not the least known. This is Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park. And this is the namesake Black Canyon. It is just a deep, very steep-sided canyon. Just a gash in the earth. You can just barely see the Gunnison River down there. It's a spectacular place. This isn't the best viewpoint of it because you can only see, 20 degrees of canyon right here. Later in the day I'll go to some of the other viewpoints on the rim here, but I'm on the north side of the canyon, the north rim of the canyon. Similar to the Grand Canyon, there's a north rim and a south rim, and just like at Grand Canyon National Park, the south rim is the popular one, the north rim is a little bit more quiet. And so I came here to the north rim because I've been to the south rim before. I first came to this national park probably in 2010 or 2009, give or take a year, somewhere in there. So it's been a while. I've never filmed this canyon before, so it was time to come back. And similar to how you can hike down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon to see the Colorado River, you can hike down to the bottom of the Black Canyon to get to the Gunnison River. The issue is that there are no trails. They are just routes. And so the route that I'm taking starts here and goes down this gully. Goes down this super steep little side canyon here to the river. Let me see if I can show you that spot. So right here, this is where the side canyon, the gully that I'm going to be going down, meets the river. It's called Long Draw. Long Draw used to be called Devil's Slide. And you know that when you invoke Satan to name something, it's not going to be pleasant. And that's going to be the case here. All of the routes that go down to the bottom of the canyon, and there are, a few on each rim, they're all pretty brutal, all very steep. Let me read you some stats here. So the distance is a mile, the vertical drop is 1,800 feet, descent time 1.5 hours, ascent time 3 hours. So it's going to be pretty brutal. To top it off, there's poison ivy along the route and at the bottom, which apparently is a feature again of all of the routes here. So let me get some gear ready. I'm parked here. You're supposed to park at this viewpoint. This is called Balanced Rock, this parking area and this viewpoint. Let me get my gear ready, and then we're going to hike along this road to the top of the little gully, and we're going to slide our way down to the bottom. Now, interestingly, you need a permit to go basically below the rim, below the canyon rim. So to access the inner canyon and the river down below, you need a wilderness permit. They're free. I got mine at the ranger station somewhere back over here. It was just a self-registration kind of thing. I think they're harder to get on the south rim. Here on the north rim, it's pretty easy. You just walk up and fill out the form and you're good to go. I think there might be a quota or a limit to the number that they give out on the other rim, which also played into why I wanted to explore the north rim today. And here we are after about 1/3 of a mile of hiking along the road here. I'm ready to plunge into the depths. This is Long Draw. Sign down here saying that this is wilderness and that a permit is required. And there's a little bit of a path going down. Let's get to it. The description for this route on the National Park Service website says that there are a few ledges or steps or short cliffs that you have to climb down, and that one of them, 1/3 of the way down, is nearly vertical. They're about 8 to 12 feet high. So I am expecting those, and I'm, you know, if you've watched my videos, you know that I'm pretty comfortable on that kind of terrain, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Famous last words, right? I'm about halfway down, so I thought I would check in. Things are going fine. I haven't encountered any like vertical steps that I've had to down climb. It's all been just like boulders on their sides that you kind of need to like half slide down, half climb down. But it's interesting. You know, I'm just deep in the belly of the beast here. And this gash. Still a ways to go, but yeah, so far so good. I mean, it's not exactly pleasant hiking, but it's not terrible. You know, it certainly could be worse. Let's keep going. Well, I made it to the bottom. This is the way I came down. And this is the Gunnison River. This section right here is called the Narrows, for I think obvious reasons. Just a massively impressive canyon. I mean, this is about 2,000 feet deep. And it is spectacular. This is basically Colorado's version of the Grand Canyon. Or more than that even, this is the Rocky Mountain equivalent of the Grand Canyon. This isn't as deep as the Grand Canyon, but it's way more narrow than the Grand Canyon. Let's go find a place to sit down, have some snacks, and enjoy the feeling of being at the bottom of the world, basically. Being down here feels like being inside of a great big machine. It's loud, there are a lot of moving parts, it's dark, it's a confined space. It's something else. It's hard to judge the scale here. It's hard to get a sense of scale, but to give you an idea, from the level of the water of the river to the top of this, so basically this is about 2,000 feet. Just under 2,000 feet. And that is just straight down. That's taller than the vast majority of skyscrapers in the US. I think it might be taller than all of them. So imagine every skyscraper you've seen in the United States stacked up against that cliff, and that cliff is taller. This is as far upstream as I can go. This is the Narrows section right here. Well, it's about time I started going back up the canyon here, back up the little gully. Overall, I'm glad I did this. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I was finally able to make it happen. Just a spectacular area. I don't know if I've ever been anywhere quite like this before. That is just so deep and so narrow. It's a unique place for sure. It took me a little more than an hour to get down here. From the road at the top of the gully, it took about an hour and 3 minutes. I'm guessing going back up, if I take my time, it'll take, 2 or 3 hours. I'll meet you back up on the rim of the canyon. I think as long as I'm here, I'm going to go visit several of the viewpoints along the rim of the canyon and just compare the view from each one. So I'll meet back up with you somewhere up on top there, and we can look across and down and through the canyon from above, basically. Well, surprisingly, it only took me about an hour. It was an hour and 1 minute from the time I left the bottom to the time I got back up to the road. I guess I was just more motivated to go faster, or maybe since I didn't film going back up, that saved me some time, but either way, it wasn't too bad going back up. I've now driven all the way to the end of the road, basically to the easternmost point of the north rim that you can drive to. And from there, there's a little viewpoint of some sort. I'm just walking through the bushes here to get there. I don't think this viewpoint even has a name. It wasn't marked on my map, but like I said, I'm gonna stop at a handful, maybe half a dozen of these viewpoints. And I don't want to just like stop and do a slow pan of the view from each one, but I'll try to show you like the highlights, the best view from each viewpoint. And now that I'm here, and having said that I wasn't going to just do a slow pan from each viewpoint, I am going to do that from this viewpoint. You can see the river down there, and just these ribs and gullies on the opposite side of the canyon here. And there's the river down below. What a canyon. I can even see directly across from me. Let's see if you can see this on film. That's one of the parking lots at the south rim. I mean, it's not that far. Like this canyon really isn't that far across, but it's so deep. What a wild, beautiful place. To say that this is a sheer drop straight down is a bit of an understatement. That was really great. I went to, I think, all of the main viewpoints that you can drive to along the North Rim here. They're all good, all worth stopping at. This last one, Chasm View, is probably the best one just because you can see in both directions down the canyon at the same time. So if you have time for just one, I'd say go with that one. But it's worth your time to stop at all of them. They're all a little bit different, all unique and worth stopping at. But I'm going to leave the national park now. I'm going to leave Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park. It was great to be back, you know. Once a decade seems to be my cadence here for visiting the park, but hopefully we can speed that up a little bit. I really enjoyed it. Next time I'll go back to the South Rim and do a few things there. I'm actually going to go to where I camped last night, to that area. While I was driving there, I saw something marked on my map on my Gaia GPS app that I use, the mapping app that I use. I saw something marked there that was interesting. And on my way there, the road there is actually pretty cool. Like the road just before where I camped last night. It's pretty narrow and it's kind of undulating. It's at the top of this Badlands formation. Pretty neat. So I'm gonna, I think, fly the drone of me driving along that area, get some cool footage of that, and then after that, hopefully I'll have found the place that I'm looking for and I'll show you that. Welcome to the Eagle Rock Shelter trailhead. This is the spot that I saw on the map last night when I camped nearby, so I decided to check it out. There's a handy map right here. I'm right here. Eagle Rock Shelter is right here, just 0.2 miles away. All right, we have arrived. This is the rock shelter right here. There are a couple of informative signs that have been just completely bleached by the sun. Very difficult to read. But this place is significant. This little cave rock shelter thing is significant because when it was excavated in 2007, it was found that there were signs of human habitation dating back 13,000 years, which makes this one of the oldest archaeological sites in North America. And I read something that said that this was 8,000 years before the pyramids. To put that into perspective, to put the age of this thing into perspective, I think 8,000 was the right number. There's not much to see in the rock shelter itself. It's just kind of an overhang, but there is some rock art here, and there's also some more to the right and to the left. To the left is where it's most impressive, so let's start over there. We have here a kind of a medley of different figures, different shapes. Looks like most of them are animals. Maybe some elk or deer. Maybe some bighorn sheep thrown in there for good measure. It's a pretty large panel. I mean, that is probably 6 or 7 feet across right here. And then just to the left of the rock shelter, there are some other kind of swirly or geometric looking figures. And then that all continues on the far right side here. Several different panels. Lots of animals. That's about it. Not a bad stop here. Not a bad stop for, you know, not having planned to come here. It's basically just a rock art site. Like, yes, the cave has significance, but it doesn't look like anything. So basically, you come here to see the rock art, which is decent. But once I get back to the car, I'll show you where I'm going to go next because you can see it from up there. So do you see this big flat-topped mountain on the horizon? That's called Grand Mesa. It's about 10 or 11,000 feet high. I think about 10,000 feet is the average elevation up there. So it's a high elevation plateau. I'm gonna head up there for a couple of reasons. First, I want to sleep in the cold tonight. I want really cold temperatures that I can, snuggle up into my sleeping bag in. And it should get down below freezing up there, I think. And then second of all, I want to fish up there tomorrow. And then I guess third of all, I've never been up there, so I want to go up there. And so let me retrace my steps here, drive back out of here, and then I need to go run into town to get a couple things, and I'll meet back up with you somewhere up on top of Grand Mesa. And as you saw in the drone footage, here is tonight's campsite. A nice large, wide open space with some mountain views in the distance. I like it. And I also really like this rear window hatch on the Yukon here. I put some mosquito netting in there and it's held up with magnets. I like it. I found a YouTube video showing how to open up the rear hatch here from the inside, and so I can do that. And then this thing is just a cord that I attached to this piece so that when I'm inside I can also shut it most of the way. I can't quite shut it all the way. It's just not quite the right angle. There's just not quite enough force on here, and the cord might be getting in the way too, but I'll work on that. It's a really nice setup, and even in rain, the glass window shields the open window part enough to keep rain out. And I'm sure if it were a pretty heavy storm with a lot of wind, then it might not, but I have experienced some rain on this trip overnight when I had this open, and no water got inside. And that's a wrap for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what your favorite part was. And let me know what your experiences have been like in especially Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park. I thought that was a really spectacular place today. Seems like a long time ago that I was there, but it was just earlier today. But thanks again, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Be sure to check out Adventure Know-How, my new site, where you can gain access to a map of all of my free campsites, plus monthly bonus videos that you won't find anywhere else. Learn more at adventureknowhow.com. And for links to everything else SUV RVing related, visit suvrving.com. Links to these sites and more will be in the video description.